Being trapped inside a mental asylum is scary enough on its own. Now imagine being hunted by the entire staff as well. Hi guys, welcome back to Movie Myth. In today's movie, we're going to be looking at Shutter Island. The 2010 mystery thriller starring Leonardo DiCaprio revolves around a conspiracy inside a mental asylum, where a federal marshal believes that the institution is running experiments on the patients, with many of them mysteriously disappearing as he's thrown inside to uncover the truth and survive. Shutter Island is one of the most notable movies of DiCaprio's illustrious career, earning itself an impressive 8.2 rating on IMDb, as well as a place in every conspiracy fan's heart. So enough talking, and let us dive into the eerie mystery behind Shutter Island. Set in 1954, the cloudy skies soar above the Boston Harbor Islands, home of the Ashcliff Mental Hospital for the Criminally Insane. As a hurricane is approaching, a boat appears through the foggy waters, where we are introduced to Teddy Daniels, a U.S. federal marshal, who suffers from seasickness and displays an abnormal fear of water. With a troubled look on his face, he tries to pull himself together and heads to the deck to meet his new partner. His partner Chuck calls him a federal legend, while Teddy drops several questions on him, indicating that he's suspicious in nature. Teddy reveals that he was married before. His wife died while he was at work in a house fire that killed 4 people. As they near the docks of the island, Teddy searches for his cigarettes and cannot find them, swearing that he placed them in his pockets before becoming paranoid that someone had taken them. They make it on land and are received by the hospital guards. The guards look a little hostile toward them, and the scene looks suspicious as if everyone is on edge for some reason. Teddy comments on the tense atmosphere, but the deputy warden assures him that everyone is on edge right now because of the case they're here for. As they make their way through the island, Teddy notices that the hospital perimeters are electrified, claiming that he's seen something like it before. Before entering the institution, they are urged to follow protocol. They are forbidden from entering Ward C unsupervised and then ordered to surrender their weapons. Teddy jokes that no one is going to be catching the insanity, which the deputy finds amusing. As they hand in their weapons, Chuck appears to struggle to remove the gun from his holster, and everyone seems to notice. Once they enter, it is revealed to us that a female prisoner had escaped and is the reason why the marshals are there. The deputy strangely is unable to answer any specific details about the situation and tells them that it is also protocol that only Dr. Colley answers their question. Teddy observes the strange asylum that holds only the most dangerous and damaged criminals. Something in the atmosphere feels off again as the patients look weird, almost abused. A freakishly looking woman stares at Teddy before shushing him, raising multiple questions as to what is going on. They go inside the main building and learn that the institute's Dr. Colley was asked to advise multiple intelligence agencies before. Teddy finds it suspicious that a psychiatrist is consulting with them. They meet Colley in his office, and Teddy notices disturbing paintings depicting patients being tortured. The doctor tells them about the escaped patient, Rachel Solando, a mother who killed all 3 of her children by drowning them, which visibly alarms Teddy. He experiences flashbacks and a severe headache, and the doctor gives him pills to take. The doctor explains that Rachel is living a lie, believing that her children are alive and refusing to admit that she's a mental patient, believing everyone else is a part of her imaginary world. While going to search Rachel's room, Teddy is skeptical of the fact that Rachel refuses to believe she's a mental patient. Strangely, he knows where to look right away as he finds a hidden note, reading, "Who is 67?" The doctor claims he's clueless about its meaning and tries to take the note from Teddy, but Teddy insists on keeping it. They make their way to the hall, where Rachel somehow slipped past 7 guards without being noticed. Teddy requests access to the personnel files of everyone who was working during her escape, but the doctor bluntly refuses, even though this is a federal order, telling them if they have any questions, they should join the search party and find answers there, while he assembles the staff for a group interrogation. They join the search party near the shore, but once again the entire situation is extremely suspicious as not a single guard is actually searching for anything. They are all just sitting there resting and passing the time. Teddy notices an old mysterious lighthouse, and the warden quickly dismisses it, telling him they've searched it and it's not important, before taking them back to the main building. As the staff is assembled and Teddy questions them, the doctor is seen taking notes on the side. One of the staff, Glenn, appears extremely suspicious and nervous when asked a simple question. He admits that he left his post for a minute to go to the bathroom, and they presume that this was when Rachel escaped. Teddy asks for Rachel's doctor, Sheehan. Right away, one of the nurses eyes Chuck nervously, who is also taking notes as well of the situation. Teddy asks to speak to Sheehan, but they inform him that he can't as he conveniently left for vacation this morning, leaving them without any useful information. At nighttime, they all head to Dr. Colley's house. His house is fancy and is almost like a mansion with all the personal entertainment you can dream of. They meet another doctor inside, Jeremiah Nyring. Nyring analyzes Teddy and calls him a man of violence while saying he has strong defense mechanisms as Teddy responds aggressively to any question he's asked. Teddy gets flashbacks of serving in World War II in Nazi Germany as he's seeing the camps. He figures out that this doctor is German from his accent and becomes suspicious of who and what his role is. Teddy demands the personnel files, but once again he's told no by both doctors, which infuriates him. He threatens to report them to his superiors and leave in the morning before he storms out, while the doctor watches him from afar. Before they go to sleep, Teddy studies the note he previously found and tells Chuck that they haven't heard a single truth once. He's suspicious of Collie and believes many people were involved in Rachel's disappearance. As Teddy falls asleep, he dreams about memories of his wife. He was having drinking problems from PTSD. His wife looked unhappy as he explained to her he drank because he killed a lot of people in the war. He's dragged to another memory in a summer cabin with his wife. She tells him that he can't leave the island yet as she is still here, as well as someone named Ladis. She tells him that he has to face Ladis and pleads with him to let her go, to which he replies that he can't. Suddenly, her body is turned to ash, which then becomes water in his hands before he is snapped awake. Teddy is stuck on the island as the hurricane hits it. He asks Collie to interview the patients and Collie agrees. The doctor stresses to him that Rachel's greatest obstacle to her recovery was her refusal to face what she had done. The marshals interview the patients. The first one, a violent killer, mentions that Rachel drowned her kids, and Teddy again reacts to hearing it. Teddy is finally angered by this killer's zero sympathy towards Rachel and has to be held back by Chuck, who signals for the guards to step in. They interview another woman, and Teddy asks her about Dr. Sheehan. She becomes nervous when she hears his name and looks at Chuck repeatedly. She asks Chuck to get her a glass of water to get him out of his seat, and she uses that moment to write a note to Teddy, which alarms him. He finally asks her about a patient named Andrew Ladis. She completely panics and leaves when she hears the name. Teddy is extremely frustrated with the patients as he believes that they were coached to give specific answers by Collie. He reveals to Chuck who Ladis is. Before they came here, Teddy requested to be on this case. Ladis was the maintenance guy at Teddy's house and was the one who started the fire that killed his wife. He got away with it and killed more people before he was arrested and sent to prison, before being transferred to this asylum and vanishing from existence. The only place left for Ladis to be on this island is Ward C, and Teddy plans to investigate there. Teddy reveals to Chuck the note that the patient wrote him, warning him to run. As the hurricane intensifies, both marshals hurry to find shelter inside a nearby cemetery to wait it out. Teddy reveals that this institution receives special funding from the government, and he believes that they run some sort of operation, as most people know about the place, but everyone is scared to talk. He found one patient, George Noyce, a patient who was released and immediately killed 3 people. In his trial, he pleaded with the judge to be sent anywhere except a mental asylum. Teddy believes that they are experimenting on the patients, who are the perfect test subjects as no one will believe anything they say. He intends to find proof of what they're doing and expose the entire thing. Chuck tells him that it's no coincidence that they were brought here, as they have not found any evidence of Rachel's existence yet. He believes the government created an excuse to get them both and trap them in the asylum. Suddenly, the doors are slammed open as the deputy is looking for them. He instructs them to go back with him, and they're both suspicious that they managed to find them, and they head back to talk to the doctor. As they wash off back at the institution, they are given patient clothes to wear as their clothes have been soaked. Teddy confronts the doctors as they're discussing how to deal with the flooding buildings. Collie has denied knowing what who is 67 meant, but the doctors accidentally revealed that there is a total of 66 patients in the facility, meaning that Rachel was questioning the fact about a 67th unknown patient. Collie out of nowhere informs him that Rachel has been found safe and sound in the facility, before taking him to her. As they interview Rachel, they notice that she has no bruises or marks on her, indicating that she is completely fine. She makes zero sense as she talks to Teddy before she snaps out of nowhere and mistakes him for her husband. They go back to Collie's office, and Teddy immediately becomes disoriented. He's given more pills by the doctor and is in extreme pain as he's taken to the infirmary before passing out on one of the beds. He dreams about countless bodies, as well as Ladis. He suddenly sees Chuck, who tells him that they're running out of time, before seeing Rachel with her murdered children as he picks them up and recreates the scene of the crime, drowning the children before waking up. We assume that he's still dreaming as he finds his wife in the infirmary, who tells him that Ladis is still in the facility and urges Teddy to find him. Teddy finally wakes up, for real this time, as the generators in the facility are failing and prisoners are out of their cells. As all the electrical security is down, they decide it's the perfect moment to investigate Ward C. As they enter into the creepy ward, insane laughter can be heard from the distance. The laughter turns into screaming. A patient suddenly appears and tags Teddy before running away. Teddy separates from Chuck as he chases after him. He's ambushed by him on the staircase and choked by the patient, who tells him that he has no intentions of ever leaving this facility. Teddy finally breaks free and beats him until a guard arrives to take him away with Chuck, leaving Teddy all alone with the rest of the ward. Teddy makes his way deeper into the ward and hears the name Ladis being whispered. He finds all sorts of deranged patients, using his matches to light the halls, before he finds the source of the whispers. A man on the floor speaks to Teddy as if he knows him. The man is revealed to be George Noyce, who tells him that the government knew what he was doing all along. This is all a rat race made specifically for Teddy, with no actual investigation. He'd never been alone since he arrived, even his partner. He had met him for the first time upon arriving at the island. George eerily tells him she's dead and to let her go before Teddy begins seeing his dead wife. George tells him that in order to leave this island, he has to let her go, to which he replies once again that he can't. George tells him that Ladis can only be at the lighthouse. Teddy runs back into Chuck and they make their way to the lighthouse. Chuck reveals that he looked into the patient files and found notes on Ladis, but Teddy is beginning to be suspicious of him. Chuck tries to get him to go back, but Teddy refuses and by now doesn't trust Chuck at all. After finding that the tide is now too high, Teddy turns back to find Chuck and finds his cigarette on the floor, with his body dropped below. He quickly climbs down to get him but finds nothing there. He finds a small cave in the rocks and makes his way there to find a woman hiding inside. The woman is revealed to be the real Rachel. She never had any children in the first place and was never married. Rachel was a doctor at the institution before she became a patient. She started becoming suspicious about hallucinogenic drugs and illegal barbaric practices at the hospital. She was an esteemed psychiatrist from a respected family, but they painted her as insane anyway and turned her into a patient. She warns him that they're going to use his traumas against him to paint him as insane, and asks if he's been taking their pills, eating their food, and smoking their cigarettes, all ways that they've been slowly cracking his mind. She begins describing exactly the symptoms he's been having and reveals that the lighthouse is used for illegal brain surgeries to experiment. Everyone knows about the island and what is going on. Everyone. The next morning, Rachel wakes him and tells him to go, as she fears being found. Teddy makes his way back to the institution and is picked up by the warden. The warden speaks about violence and his love for it. He tells Teddy that they are both violent men. He reveals that Collie thinks that Teddy can be controlled, but the warden knows otherwise. Teddy meets the doctor with the entire staff observing him. He's offered a cigarette, but this time he refuses, and tells the doctor that they will be leaving as they've gotten all they came here for. In a strange twist, the doctor tells him that he came here on his own, and that he never had any partner. At night, Teddy sneaks around the facility before running into Dr. Nyring. Nyring slips out a sedative, but Teddy takes it off him. He suspects he's a Nazi as he gives him a taste of his own medicine and attempts to escape. Teddy finds a car and begins imagining his wife, who tells him to leave the island. But this time, he ignores his wife and makes his way to the lighthouse to rescue his partner Chuck. He takes out a guard and takes his weapon, filled with determination to crack this case and reveal the whole truth behind the island and his wife's killer. He breaks into the lighthouse. He climbs up before finally being seconds away from the truth. He breaks inside the room and finds Dr. Collie there. He's told that his rifle is empty. A tape recorder is running alongside his badge and gun, as Collie informs him that Dr. Sheehan has been here all along and is coming up. Teddy is on the brink of insanity now. He is as paranoid as it gets and his body is trembling while he continues to hallucinate and imagine his dead wife talking to him. Teddy reveals to him that he knows all about Dr. Rachel and the fact that he'd been getting poisoned, causing his hands to shake uncontrollably. The doctor tells him that he's trembling as a result of withdrawal, as they have been feeding him the same drug for 2 years. He claims that he's been a patient at this institution for 2 years. Teddy tells him that he can't lie to him as he is a U.S. Marshal and has dealt with worse before. Collie reveals that he was a U.S. Marshal before and hands him his file, but Teddy demands to know where his partner is and claims that his tactics won't work. Right there, Chuck walks into the room and is repeating the doctor's claims. Teddy tells him that he risked his life for him and he sold him out. Chuck is revealed to be Dr. Sheehan all along. In a shocking twist, the doctor reveals to Teddy that he is in fact Andrew Ladis, and he was the one who killed his own wife after she drowned all 3 of their children. His wife was insane, depressive, and suicidal. He was warned constantly about her, but he kept drinking and ignored all the signs. She set their city house on fire on purpose, and he still ignored it and took her to live in a lake house. Teddy continues to deny their claims before the doctor shows him pictures of his children and asks him to deny their existence, but he cannot. He finally remembers what happened and reveals to us the truth. He came back home from an assignment one day and found his wife alone by the lake. She acts strangely as he asks where the children are. In a horrifying moment of realization, he finds the bodies of his children floating in the lake. He rushes to save them but discovers that they're already dead. He drags them out and places them on the ground before his wife comes along and speaks normally as if nothing happened. Out of anger and disgust at what she did, he shoots and kills her as he snaps from his memories and passes out in the present time. Andrew wakes up in a bed, surrounded by the doctors and the warden. He finally admits to the truth. He admits that he is Andrew Ladis. He is in fact a patient at the hospital and he's there for killing his wife. Teddy is a person he made up to be able to cope with what he's done. He breaks down as he reveals that his wife warned him that there's something in her head urging her to do crazy things, but he ignored it, and is the reason why his children are dead. Collie tells him that they fear that he'll go back to his delusion as they managed to snap him out of it 9 months ago, but he regressed and started all over again like a looping tape, and if he does it again, they have to lobotomize him and put him out for good. He admits his crime and comes to terms with what he's done. The next morning, Sheehan joins him and asks him what he's going to do. Teddy answers that they have to escape this island, as something suspicious is going on, indicating that he has regressed once again and fallen back to his delusions, and all of the doctors are saddened by it. Right before Andrew is taken away, he leaves Sheehan with words that make us wonder if he did get better. Before he nods to Dr. Colley, who tried to help him, and accepts his fate in the lighthouse. He says, which would be worse, to live as a monster, or to die as a good man? This movie has one of the most shocking plot twists in cinema history. No one saw the true ending coming, as it was done in spectacular fashion. The film drops several clues throughout the movie that foreshadow the ending if you pay close attention to all the details in the scenes. It is also important to note that throughout the story, it is constantly cloudy and the rain gets heavier as we get deeper into the story. The sun only shines in the end when Teddy realizes the truth and accepts who he truly is and what he's done. Well, this brings us to the end of today's video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to our channel to get more videos like this one. Your support is so important. And tell me what you think about this film. What did you think of the movie's ending? Where do you rank it among Leonardo DiCaprio's body of work? Let me know in the comments below. I read all of them. And if you're watching till now, thank you. I'll see you in another video soon.